6:45, this is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The news edited by Danushka Madhavala, read by Soundithavam. The President invites all parties to work together to find solutions to the economic crisis. The visiting US Under-Secretary of State for Political Affairs met the President. The Sri Lankan Premier expressed his gratitude to the Indian Prime Minister for the recent economic development assistance. The Ministry of Power says the supplying of fuel is being normalised at present. More gas cylinders will be issued to the market to ease the shortage. More than 6 hours power shedding will be experienced in some areas. The 8-storied ward complex built at the Borella National Ayurveda Teaching Hospital will be vested with the public today. In world news, Madeleine Albright, the first female US Secretary of State, dies. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa says that everyone should work together to find solutions to the current economic crisis faced by the country. Inaugurating the all-party conference at the President's house in Colombo yesterday, the President pointed out the need to bring the economy to a stable position by embarking on short and long-term strategies. The all-party conference was convened to look into the economic crisis the country is currently facing, and the party leaders and representatives presented their proposals in writing and orally. The party leaders and delegates also stated that they will give their maximum contribution and commitment to the all-party conference in the future on behalf of the country and the people. The Central Bank Governor Ajit Niwad Cabral presented the current economic situation at the conference. The President said the all-party conference is a sincere effort and there is no political ambition or narrow objectives in it. The President, thanking all the participating parties that recognized the invitation extended by the government as a national interest, said other parties that did not participate would have the opportunity to state their position at the all-party conference. The President also said that a committee could be set up to review all the ideas and proposals submitted and formulate a methodology to implement the productive proposals. The President also agreed in principle that the government will accept the suggestions from all political parties. The government is looking for short and long-term solutions to overcome this challenge. Mentioning the parties that did not attend the conference, the President said their views are also important to the forward march of the country. Speaking on the occasion, Minister Basil Rajapaksa said that many benefits will be given to the people before the Sinhala and Tamil New Year. The Finance Minister said that if the Cabinet agrees to amend the budget, it can be done soon to provide relief to the people. The prevailing energy crisis should be managed through renewable energy sources. The country should be made self-sufficient in essential food items. He said that the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna is committed to that goal. He proposed that a separate technical committee should be appointed to hold discussions with the International Monetary Fund. The leader of the United National Party, Ranil Wickremesinghe, said that the country can be developed by implementing a national policy which would not be changed by the governments which come into power at various times. The leader of the SLFP, former President Maithripala Sirisena, stated that it is ideal to design an oil price formula based on the trends of the world market. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa has expressed his gratitude to Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi for the recent economic development assistance and credit facilities extended by India to Sri Lanka. The Prime Minister also said that he expects the Indian government would pay special attention to Sri Lanka's development in the future as well. The Ministry of Power says the supplying of fuel is being normalised at present. A vessel carrying 37,500 metric tons of petrol under the Indian loan scheme will reach the island today. Meanwhile, the Litro Gas Company says that more gas cylinders will be issued to the market to ease the shortage. The company says that around 125,000 cylinders are released to the market daily to ease the shortage. Another ship carrying 31,000 metric tons of LP gas will reach the island today, and another ship is scheduled to reach on Saturday. The company says that the gas shortage will be eased within the next few days. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Plastic and reconstructive surgeon of the Colombo National Hospital, Gayan Munasinghe, says that it is dangerous to stockpile petrol in houses. Petrol is a highly vaporizing substance and it can ignite with a small flame. There is a possibility of burns and fires as well. Dr. Munasinghe warned it is not suitable to store petrol in houses by any means. The Public Utilities Commission of Sri Lanka has approved scheduled power cuts for today as requested by the Ceylon Electricity Board. Accordingly, the areas under groups P, Q, R, S, T, U, V and W will experience power cuts of 4 hours and 30 minutes between 8:30 a.m. and 5:30 p.m. and 1 hour and 50 minutes between 5:30 p.m. and 11 p.m. Meanwhile, the areas under groups A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K and L in the schedule will be imposed power cuts of 3 hours and 20 minutes between 8 a.m. and 6 p.m. and 1 hour and 40 minutes between 6 p.m. and 11 p.m. That concludes local news.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
President Gotabaya Rajapaksa requested the United States to assist the development of renewable energy generation and green technology. The president made this request when he met with the visiting U.S. Under-Secretary of State for Political Affairs Victoria Nuland at the Presidential Secretariat yesterday. Welcoming the measure, the Under-Secretary pointed out the importance of holding talks with the diaspora in Canada, the United States and European countries. President Rajapaksa said he was keen to hold discussions with the diaspora and invited them to invest in the development of the northern province. Mrs. Nuland said that steps will be taken to introduce the United States green technology to Sri Lanka and to support the development of the cyber and information technology sectors. Focusing on educational facilities in the country, the Under-Secretary pointed out that higher education opportunities could be expanded with the participation of the private sector. That came to you in the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
Watch Life is brought to you by
More prizes, more gains with CIB New Year offers. Valuable gifts for every bill. 20% discount for bank cards until 10th of April. Visit CIB today.
The government has decided to grant a 2-year grace period for the payment of the Tourism Development Levy without any penalty for hotels registered under the Sri Lanka Tourism Development Authority to support the recovery of the tourism industry. Accordingly, tourist hotels will be able to pay the outstanding accumulated during the period from 4th April 2019 to December 31st, 2021 in 32 equal installments. That came to you in Watchlight.
More prizes, more gains with CIB New Year offers. Valuable gifts for every bill. 20% discount for bank cards until 10th of April. Visit CIB today.
World News. Brought to you by courtesy of...
No matter what anyone says, for your lease, visit the Leasing Mahagethara. People's Leasing, Friendly Leasing Mahagethara. More information from the nearest People's Leasing branch.
People's Leasing, the trusted leader.
Making headlines this morning, NATO to send more troops to Eastern Europe. Madeleine Albright, the first female US Secretary of State, dies. WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange gets married in Belmarsh prison. NATO is set to approve big increases in the forces deployed on its eastern flank, its Secretary-General Jens Stoltenberg has said. Mr. Stoltenberg was speaking at a news conference on the eve of an emergency summit on Russia's invasion of Ukraine. He pledged more troops for Hungary, Slovakia, Bulgaria and Romania. NATO will also agree on more support for Ukraine, including greater protection against the use of chemical, biological and nuclear weapons. US President Joe Biden is on his way to Brussels for the summit on Thursday and for other meetings with European leaders. While he is in Europe, the US is expected to announce further sanctions on Russian political figures and oligarchs. Madeleine Albright, a Czech immigrant who went on to become the first female Secretary of State in US history, has died aged 84. A long-time foreign policy veteran, Albright became America's top diplomat in 1997 during the Clinton government. Often hailed as a champion of democracy, Albright was instrumental in efforts to end ethnic cleansing in Kosovo. Her death from cancer was confirmed by her family in a statement. Among those to pay tribute to her after the announcement of her death were former President Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton, who later followed in her footsteps as Secretary of State. WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange has married his longtime partner at a high-security prison in London. Mr. Assange, 50, married Stella Morris on Wednesday in Belmarsh Prison, where he has been held since 2019. The couple were granted permission to marry last year, and the ceremony was attended by 4 guests, as well as 2 official witnesses and 2 guards. Mr. Assange is in prison, while US authorities seek to extradite him to face trial on espionage charges. He is wanted over the publication of thousands of classified documents related to the Afghanistan and Iraq wars. He denies any wrongdoing. Earlier this month, the UK Supreme Court refused to allow his latest appeal against extradition. Back to the headlines of the world news. NATO to send more troops to Eastern Europe. Madeleine Albright, the first female US Secretary of State, dies. WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange gets married in Belmarsh Prison. That concludes this bulletin of world news.
World News. Brought to you by courtesy of...
For your wheel lease, visit the Leasing Mahagedara. People's Leasing, friendly leasing Mahagedara. More information from the nearest People's Leasing branch.
People's Leasing, the trusted leader.
Development News is brought to you by... Let's take coal out of the coconut tree and make the island thriving and prosperous. Call our hotline 1928. WhatsApp 070 400 1928.
The 8-storied ward complex built at the Borella National Ayurveda Teaching Hospital at a cost of 1,906 million rupees will be vested with the public today. The project to update the Ayurveda hospitals was launched on a concept of Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa. The hospital was developed under 3 stages. The 5-storied outpatients department, built at a cost of 200 million rupees, was vested with the public in 2008 under the first phase and came to you in Development News.
Development News was brought to you by... The coconut tree is well grown in almost all the parts of the island. It is an exceptional source of extra income. The shell, the husk and almost all the parts of the coconut tree makes you money, providing you with an excellent extra source of income. It will also help to nourish the economy of the country. You will be guided with all necessary informations regarding the coconut cultivation, with the novel cultivation techniques and all other related and upgraded informations by the Coconut Research Institute, Lunavilla. Call our hotline 1928. WhatsApp 070 400 1928.
Sports News is brought to you by...
Sampath Bank, we present your future.
Chelsea will be allowed to sell tickets to away games, cup matches and fixtures involving the women's team after the UK government made alterations to the club's special licence. The club have been unable to sell tickets since owner Roman Abramovich was sanctioned by the government as part of its response to Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Under the changed licence, proceeds from ticket sales will go directly to the Premier League and then be distributed to the relevant party. Japan's Naomi Osaka says she wants to move on from a traumatic early exit at Indian Wells after winning her opening match at the Miami Open. The former world number 1 beat Australia's Astra Sharma 6-3, 6-4, 10 days after heckling from the crowd reduced her to tears during a second-round defeat by Veronika Kudermetova. Osaka's win was her 50th in the WTA 1000 tournaments and sets up second-round meeting with 13th seed Angelique Kerber. In the men's draw, Britain's Jack Draper, the world number 146, is through to round 2, where he will face British number 1 Cameron Norrie. That's sports news. We'll look at business news next.
Cash through NSP globally and win wonderful gifts locally. From October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency 3 times through NSB U Trust.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Hilton Hotels and Resorts welcomes the wedding season in full swing with 2 new memories wedding sale across Malaysia, Philippines and Sri Lanka. The wedding sale is an extension of their 2 New Memories global marketing campaign, which debuted last year. That's business news, economic news to follow.
Business News, sponsored by
Cash through NSP globally and win wonderful gifts locally. Will you be the lucky winner of the NSP Golden Jubilee? 50 gold sovereigns for the top prize winner of the NSP Golden Jubilee, scooters for the 10 second prize winners, iPhones for the 10 third prize winners, mountain bikes for the 29 fourth prize winners. From October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency 3 times through NSBU Trust.
Economic news, courtesy of...
I bought my daughter a laptop for her work by managing my finances. Whatever the expenses may be, I can't afford to miss out on life's special moments like her birthday or our anniversary. So you need to invest to make your family's future flourish.
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibilities. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
The cost of living of the UK continued to soar last month, according to official figures. Prices rose by 6.2% in the 12 months to February, the fastest for 30 years, as fuel, energy and food costs surged. Prices are rising faster than wages, and the Bank of England thinks it could hit double digits this year. Chancellor Rishi Sunak and Prime Minister Boris Johnson have been under pressure to do more to help struggling households. Inflation is the rate at which prices rise. If a bottle of milk costs £1 and that rises by 5 pence, then milk inflation is 5%. That's economic news.
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibility. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
The Weather Report.
Thunder showers accompanied by severe lightning is likely to occur at several places in the central, north-central, eastern and Uva provinces and in the Mana, Vavuniya and Mullaitivu districts. There may be temporary localized strong winds during thunder showers. The general public is kindly requested to take adequate precautions to minimize damages caused by lightning. To conclude this bulletin of news, a recap of the headlines. The President invites all parties to work together to find solutions to the economic crisis. The visiting U.S. Under-Secretary of State for Political Affairs met the President. The Sri Lankan Premier expressed his gratitude to the Indian Prime Minister for the recent economic development assistance. The Ministry of Power says the supplying of fuel is being normalised at present. More gas cylinders will be issued to the market to ease the shortage. More than 6 hours power shedding will be experienced in some areas. The 8-storied ward complex built at the Borella National Ayurveda Teaching Hospital will be vested with the public today. And Madeleine Albright, the first female U.S. Secretary of State, dies. That concludes this morning's news broadcast, and it's back to your hostess, Geethanjali Ramanayaka across the glass pane.